Story number 1. I do not care if you have cancer. My child deserves your seat. This encounter happened about 7 months ago. I do not want to insult your intelligence because you most likely already know what EM and me stands for, but I should say that EK in this story stands for embarrassed kid and OG stands for old gentleman, 60-some-year-old guy. The kid was very polite and sorry, so this story isn't about him. Also, I'm translating this into English, so bear with me. A little backstory. About a year ago, I was diagnosed with a cancer of the nasal cavity, stage 2. The tumor was quite large, but thankfully benign. Edit. People have pointed out I formulated this wrong. By benign, I wanted to shorten the fact it still did not spread into other tissue. Thus it was still contained, which is what I thought the word meant. I apologize for my gaps in knowledge. To get it removed, I first had to undergo aggressive chemotherapy to make it smaller. Thanks to the chemo, I had severe alopecia hair loss, which made most of my hair and even eyebrows and eyelashes fall out. At some point I had to go bald, but I wore a wig because I didn't want to look like a skinhead / neo-Nazi. I'm 6 feet 4 inches and pretty muscular, so I thought people would assume. So once, after a long chemo session in the hospital, I took the bus home. There's only one bus that goes from the hospital to where I live, so I took that one only to see it was absolutely packed. I felt like shit thanks to the chemo, so I asked a middle-aged dude to let me sit. He was very understanding and gave me his spot without complaining. If you're reading this, thanks bro. 2 stops later, enter EM, a lovely whale with an I demand a parley with the CEO haircut and a 12-some-year-old kid. It took her roughly 5 seconds to see the bus was packed, start looking for a free seat, spot me, and start marching or, in her case, trying to fit in the aisle between the seats while shoving others aside. To me, when I saw her, I knew I was screwed. She then stood next to me and decided to talk to me. This is the conversation that followed. Hey, could you let my kid sit down? Me. You mean me? EM. Who else? Mio, I'm sorry, but I'm on my way from the hospital and, cutting me off, so are we, nonsense, the stop was a few kilometers away from the hospital. My boy just broke his leg, and we're coming straight from the ER. Her kid was standing next to her without any support, clearly embarrassed. Me. He's standing next to you completely fine. Look here, boy, I am 21 years old. My kid deserves to sit down. Me. Look, madam, I'm sorry, but I just got back from a chemo session in the hospital, and I need to sit down and rest. I then moved my wig a bit to let her see my bald head. Then straight up started yelling in my face. Stop making excuses and get off the F and hashtag at IECUF at dollar and IE skinhead piece of S *** T. At this point, I was baffled. I didn't know what to say. The kid was trying to make his mother stop, and we had the attention of the whole bus. She then grabbed me and tried to yank me from my seat. I held on tight and thankfully didn't fall off. Now, enter OG, my savior. OG, will you shut the F and hashtag K up, you dumb cow? Who do you think you're talking to? OG, with ice-cold voice, stop assaulting other passengers or I will be forced to step in. Also, every dumb moron could see that the dude has cancer. No, he's just AF and at hashtag ING skinhead. OG, he's got an O, eyebrows UTWAT. Seems like that really offended EM because she spun around on the spot and threw a falcon punch in OG's face. I was shocked and in disbelief. The whole bus was flabbergasted and the kid probably wished he'd never been born. OG then said something unbelievable and a golden, sweet karma moment followed. OG. Okay, that does it. Harassing passengers on the bus, physical assault against a passenger, and now assaulting an officer. You're in deep trouble, lady. OG then pulled out a badge and told her to stay where she was. Then he pulled out his phone, called someone and told her she was being arrested. I couldn't believe it. OG was a bloody cop. At this point, EM was as white as a wall. The bus had just come to a stop, so she decided she'd make a run for it. But other passengers blocked her way. She then also got charged with resisting arrest thanks to this. 3 stops later, a police car was waiting for the EM and EK. EK told me he was sorry for his mother's behavior and I felt really sorry for the kid. He wasn't a bad child, but his mother was a hellspawn. OG then talked to me and asked me if I wanted to press charges, to which I gladly said yes, took a statement, and thankfully was kind enough to let me solve everything on the phone, so I didn't have to come to the police station for questioning. In the end, EM got some jail time. I think it was a few months, and some community service. I, in return, got a good story to tell and the sweet taste of instant karma. Right now, I'm riding the same bus home, as I just got back home from the hospital after a checkup, which reminded me of this. A friend who's sitting next to me told me I should post it here. He, as much as myself, also couldn't believe that such people exist, but it seems I proved it to him. I should also note that the surgery went well. I was declared cancer-free in November, and my hair is slowly returning. Also, I don't need to wear a wig anymore. Story 2. A wild Karen got arrested with a felony. Background. I'm a 35-year-old father of 2 boys. I have PTSD due to time overseas and have the physical scars to match the mental scars. I have an incredible wife that knows me and knows what situations I should avoid. My children are amazing, but this story revolves around my youngest son and my service dog. Jay, my youngest son, has autism, and we share a special bond because some things that set him off also put my teeth on edge. Spike, my English bulldog, he's my service dog. He's well-trained, lazy, judgmental, and overall uninterested in anything he can't eat. He's also very in tune to Jay and my emotions, and will provide a distraction when we get overwhelmed. Basically, he's like, "Oh, you're stressed? Here, scratch my butt. You'll feel better, and I'll get attention. It's a win-win." The story. My family recently moved to Texas. Because we now live very close to an amusement park, we got memberships. Shout out to the park for being amazing when it comes to special needs. This particular park in Arlington, Texas has a special program for autistic people. They have rooms set aside to chill at if you're overstimulated so you can relax, go back out, get overstimulated again, and round you go. With Jay, we also don't have to wait in lines. This is a huge thing and the cause of this story. The park has a pass that lets you skip most of the lines, and they charge an arm and a leg for this. However, with that pass, you still end up in a line of the hundreds of people that also have that pass. Jay gets no lines at all. We get a special pass and we go in through the exit. The worker signs the pass and we go on the ride. Jay has a favorite ride, the log ride. There's been days that we would ride the log ride over and over. Then eat. We also have the food pass, which we pay for. Then go back to the log ride. On this day T, my oldest and Jay wanted to go on the log ride. So we made our way to the exit and left wife and Spike in the shade because someone has to stay with him and bulldogs plus rides don't mix. As we were going in the exit, a woman started screaming at us. I have absolutely no hearing on my right side, thanks high pressure wave, so didn't consider it worth turning my head to listen. Now, because we ride this ride, almost exclusively the workers on this ride know us by name and sight. Jay even talks to them, which is rare. We go in, show the pass, sit, and ride. This time, though, Tabitha, I'll call her Tabitha because Karen is overused. The woman that was screaming at us as we were walking in through the out made her way to where the speedy pass ends at the ride where a red shirt will check her pass and let her go on her way. She didn't even want to ride. She just wanted to yell about us going in through the exit and how we are abusing the system. Now, anyone that looks at Jay can see he's in a world all his own and wouldn't be surprised if he's literally reading the future or talking to aliens. He's awesome. The red shirt tries to calm her down. T is getting upset because he's a normal 9-year-old and adults yelling is uncool. Jay making his excited sounds and waiting for the log to stop so he can get in. We get in, and as we float away, we still hear Tabitha screaming. The ride ends, and we exit. We figured we would never see Tabitha again, but obviously as on point this, it didn't go that way. Tabitha appeared like a dark brother after making the sacrifice. Elder Scrolls reference. Hooting and screaming. She is screaming that just because Jay isn't our word doesn't mean we get extra rights. The screaming causes Jay to let out his super screech. Now anyone that knows autism knows that autistic kids have superpowers. In Jay's case, it's a supersonic, ear-shattering, high-pitched screech that makes your eyes swim and makes it feel like things in your head are moving that shouldn't. This whole time Spike was laying on the ground in the froggy position as bulldogs do, just looking at Tabitha like she's a rabid dog, but not worth getting up for. As we are being screamed at, I see two officers approaching from behind Tabitha. I smile. My smile must have broke Tabitha because the hauls off and kicks Spike. This flips my switch because now my family is literally under attack, and I start to react. Before I can make contact, Tabitha is already in the air, being held, carried, half dragged away while being cuffed. Now in front of me is a well-dressed and pissed-looking officer. He tells us he heard the screech and started heading to it because they thought a ride broke or something bad happened. I take the time to unflip that switch and examine Spike. He's limping and crying. I feel his hips and feel that his hip is dislocated. I jokingly ask the officer to walk away and let me get some. He, of course, has no humor to this, but also can tell I had a career. He asks what happened, and we all explain what happened from A to Z. He asks if Spike is a service dog. I say yes. He smiles. I'm not in a smile mood, but it catches me off guard. He explains that in Texas, to intentionally injure a service dog is a felony. By this time, park security arrived and issued a trespass order to Tabitha. The officers ask if I want to press charges. I look at Spike and look back, yes. I say. Tabitha and her tiny mouse-like husband start to freak out as Tabitha is loaded onto a golf cart. We hop on a cart too and leave to go to the vet. The vet fixed Spike and all is well. We went back the next day with Spike in a stroller. No one batted an eye, and everyone loves the bulldog in a stroller. I let people pet him, he's a hoot, and the park is an amazing place. I've been contacted by the investigating officer and have given depositions. I may have to testify, but I look forward to sitting on the bench with Spike on my lap. Story 3. Cab driver rips me to shreds, thinking I can't understand him, but I can. Obligatory, this happened several years ago, a few months after I had moved to Chicago. I had moved there from Romania, where I'd been living and going to school. Love Romania. People are great. Drop what you're doing and visit. Anyway, while I was there, due to my living situation, I had to learn the language fast and thoroughly. Not many people around me spoke English, outside of the uni I was at. So fast forward to the few months after I arrived in Chicago. Imagine my surprise when the driver of the Uber I had ordered appeared to have a Romanian name. The area had a lot of Eastern Europeans, so I guess it shouldn't have been so surprising. I was really excited to talk to him and make sure I wasn't getting rusty, maybe make a friend. Up pulls the guy, I get in. He greets me, but he appears to be on the phone with a buddy/family member, so I just sit quietly in the back, listening in a bit. The person on the other end asks if the driver is getting off work soon. He responded with something like the following. No, I still have a few hours left, then I'll go home. Right now, I have someone in the car. God, I hate this country. The women here are so fat and ugly. At least this one has a nice chest. But why can't she lose some weight? And he goes on and on about all the problems with me and other American women. Now, I've always been a bit on the chonky side, and you best believe the Romanians love to comment on it, so I was used to it. But I was a bit shocked that this guy was going off like that. Anyway, I'm just kind of sitting bemused in the back seat as we near my destination. Then I tell him, in Romanian, with all my might trying to pull off the distinct accent of the region I have been living in, can you just pull over there, on the right? I swear this guy's head did the Exorcist girl head move, and he turned a shade of red I have seen nowhere else in nature. He didn't say anything, just pulled over. When I got out, I said thanks and added, you're not attractive and you're also fat, so maybe you shouldn't make comments like that. I have never again reached such levels of self-pride. ETA. Wow, this blew up a bit. Thanks so much for the awards. Gita, Gitso on the Uber app. If you see this, hope you're still fat and ugly. SI Footatai, Sipa Meishii.